All right, welcome to Wild Girls Gone Sober.
Welcome.
We are super high tech today. We've got all kinds of new fancy actual podcasting equipment. So you said in the last episode we were stepping up our game. You were not kidding. There's like a soundboard and real microphones.
Real
It's a
microphones.
little weird. It's a little weird looking at Lindsay over this thing, but it's good. It's good. We're excited.
Yes.
You won't hear motorcycles and garbage trucks and everything else that you've been hearing in all of our videos.
No, and thank you to everybody that still listened, even though our sound quality was very poor.
Yeah, we were less than production quality that we would
Right.
like to be, but I think we did all right. So we're excited. Yeah, new steps
Yes.
forward. Good things.
We're super excited.
So it's been a couple weeks since we recorded and celebrated your 1 year. A year and
Yay.
2 weeks. Very cool. What's going on? What's happened since I saw you last? I mean, I saw you like yesterday, but
Right. So since the last time we podcasted, it was interesting because you know how you always tell me I'm never sharing enough, and it felt really good to kind of just tell my story. I
Right.
feel like a lot of it was missing, but I feel like I get why they make you do that now in
Okay.
AA, because ever since we did that podcast and I kind of like just purged it all out there because I never really had, and I don't journal, even though that's something I always say that I want to do.
I feel like I dragged it out of you the other day.
Yeah, you just threw me off. Like I wasn't prepared. I didn't have notes. Like I don't know. I didn't.
My God, you had to wing it.
So, but ever since then, it's like all these little, I don't know, like all these memories keep like flooding in, and they're like they're yellow, red flags to kind of like how I got here now and being, raging alcoholic. Maybe not just a raging alcoholic, but why I drank so much, right? Like
Right.
why I needed to numb these feelings, and just like these flashes of when I felt uncomfortable being like myself and why I drank, right? So just situations. So it's just been really interesting the past couple weeks to kind of reflect. Like I thought it was just going to be that one day, right? Like, oh, the one
Told my
year,
story, done.
right? Told my story, got emotional, and it's really a journey, people. It's really a journey.
Well, and I think it makes other people think too. So I don't think
Mhm.
first off, they don't make you share.
They don't.
They suggest you
Yes.
share. You do not have to do anything, especially at meetings. So if you're somebody that like freaks you out to be like, oh God, I don't want to talk in front of people, neither does Lindsay. And she did not get up and share her story at meeting. You guys were the recipients of that, which I think is awesome because this is a comfortable environment and you were okay being vulnerable with our friends
Right.
here. But you don't have to. But I think for those who do share, what happens for me when my favorite meetings are meetings where somebody gets up and tells their story.
Me too.
And there's a reason as a newbie, like
Mhm.
I'm sure it's cathartic for the person who shares, just like you experience. But I think there's also, it makes me reflect back on things. Like when I relate to pieces of their story and I'm like, oh yeah, I did it with you. You were talking about the Zima incident and I went back to, it wasn't in high school, it was after high school, but like the year after high school, I just about like drank myself to death and did a bunch of drugs and like bad juju. But I remember pulling the like, your parents tell you you can call them and they won't get mad
Oh
as long as you
God,
don't
yeah.
drive or you don't get in the car with someone who's drunk and
Right.
blah blah blah. And I was at a party that was not far from where I lived. I had met up with a friend somewhere else. So my car was somewhere else. If I had my car, I would have fucking driven home probably. Let's be real. But because I didn't have my car and I had ridden there with someone, I was stuck. I threw up in the middle of a party full of really super cool people that I didn't know. I don't remember if I don't think I was still in high school. I think it was the year after high school. And I was humiliated because I like did the like bleh, like in
Oh.
like it was in my hair, it was everywhere. And then I tried to like pretend I didn't throw up.
How do you recover from that?
Like I just like ran away, and then the kid whose house it was like, hi, did you puke? And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Lie, 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 lie. And he asked me to clean it up, and I was just like, and I fucking jetted. I did. And I was just
Put
mortified
him on your
because I was
list.
so uncomfortable. I don't even know who he was. Like, it was a friend of a friend of a friend that I just got brought along to. And I called my dad from the gas station at the corner when we still had payphones, because this would have been like 97. And my dad came, and he had an 85 Lincoln Town Car, which, if you've ever seen one of these pimp mobiles, it's 27 feet long. It's a fucking boat. Like, it's the biggest car you've ever seen in your life. And riding in it down the road is like this. He had to pull over no less than 6 times on the way home for me to throw up, because and I was not far from home. Like, we were a few miles away from
So the
home.
real question, did he get mad?
No, he was amazing.
Ooh.
No, he was great. He probably thought it was a little bit funny. In retrospect, now my dad passed away a few years ago, so I can't ask him this, but I think he probably thought it was a little bit funny. He was glad I called. He was like, "No worries, I'll come get you." He did try to get me to tell him where the party was, and I wouldn't. And he got like all cranky that people were pouring booze down my throat, which of course they weren't. Like, I showed up at the party with a half gallon of Kahlua and drank it like Superwoman. No one,
So,
no one already puked. But the moral of that story was, like, you talking about that Zima thing made me remember that incident,
mhm,
which makes me think about other things in that period of time. And so I think that's part of sharing your story is, bringing things up for people who are there at the meeting to be like, oh, I relate to that because I had this incident
mhm.
happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it felt really good. So that's been happening a lot of more of like my mental state. I've been really in a state of gratitude, even when I've been a little cranky.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like we've been bitches for the past week. Like, I didn't get
just
my period, but I feel like even you and I together, we've been a little like, yeah, a little.
yeah, but even through that, I've still just been really grateful. Like the year thing, it just feels good. Like I'm coming up, and I guess we'll just talk about it. Coming up on my second July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So well, I guess when you listen to this, it will be after July 4th,
Right.
but the weekend after. But
Hot minute.
yeah, it was, this will be my second. So everything's coming up on my second. So the
Mm-hmm.
second 4th of July is second, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, we're
Second.
gonna have second birthday
Right.
soon. Yep.
Like it's funny. But um, like I was trying to think of what we were talking before this of like what I did for 4th of July last year. And I was probably just like shitting in my pants, scared because I
It's
probably
very
didn't know
attractive.
what to do. You know what I mean? Like, what do I do with my hands? Like, you don't know
Yeah, I don't know where to put
when,
my hands.
right? When you stop drinking, that's how you feel about your whole life. Like, you don't know what to do.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I was probably just scared and just like, all right, let's do this. Like, whatever it was, it's like,
Right.
all right, I
Let's get
think,
in and get out.
yeah, I think I went to a barbecue. It's like, all right, just to get through the barbecue. And now it's like, life isn't just like get through it now. It's like you can enjoy it and be present. And
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point.
yeah,
That's
like
really
it's not
good because it does
just,
feel like that for a long time. It's like, just survive. You're
right.
just in survival mode. Just like get through it, get
Just
past it,
get to the
whatever.
meeting, get through lunch,
Yeah,
get
get
through
to
this,
tomorrow
just
morning.
through
Like,
one day.
yeah.
And now I feel like I can really be present and like enjoy
Mm-hmm.
things like this, sitting here and talking to you, like where
Mm-hmm.
before I'd be like, oh, let's go have a drink, or
Mm.
when are we going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's awesome.
yeah, so you're coming up, so you're first.
Yeah, I'm still in my year of first. So I'm 9 months in.
Woo!
And I don't remember what I did for 4th of July last year. We were talking about this
Mm.
before we started recording, that 4th of July isn't really my husband's such an introvert. He doesn't think it's the world's greatest thing to hang out with 700 people like I do. So a lot of times we just end up being kind of homebodies, because it was less stressful for me to stay home and just hang with him than to drag him out somewhere where I was worried he wasn't having a good time and I was probably getting drunk. Right?
So
Because
you
I
just
was
thought,
probably going to be in trouble after anyway. So unless it was certain people, it didn't make sense to go out. And we had, like, I hang out with the people that I know he's comfortable hanging out with. But the problem there is, like, our friends that moved back to Georgia, they were a place we would hang out, and there were lots of people there. And so I got my fill, and he was in a place he was comfortable. And so
mm-hmm.
it worked out. So now we're kind of like loners. We don't really have any people right now. Um, but I'll tell a 4th of July story if you
To
want.
it.
It's probably from a little bit after that house party period. It was a little bit later than that, maybe a couple years out of high school. I was probably like 18, 19-ish, and I remember so I had these two guys that I was friends with growing up, and I've talked about this before. Like we're all those girls who are like, "Oh, I'm always friends with the boys. I don't get along with the girls." Yeah, because we were insecure, and girls suck and make fun of you and treat you like shit. So you like to hang
Mhm.
out with the boys. So anyway, I had these two guys that I was friends with from the time I was like 12 until about this time, like right around this 4th of July time. It was in that same several month period that I stopped hanging around with that crowd. And I honestly, the guy that I was dating at the time, I was so smitten with him. I totally thought he was like the one, and I was super in love with him. And he was older than me because I always go out with guys who were older than me. He was probably, I think he was over 21. Yeah, he was like 22 and I was like 19. So which wasn't ridiculous,
No.
but it is a big difference when you can't drink legally and they can. Like it does cause a
Mm,
separation. Like you can't go to certain places that they can go. Like it does cause a
I didn't have
separation.
that issue.
I did. I did
Okay.
with him. But anyway, so he was like 22. I thought he was like the bee's knees, and I was super in love with him, and I was acting like a total psychopath. I was so the two guys I was good friends with, I was always like the kid sister, but I was totally in love with one of them who's still my friend to this day, and he's super gay. And it makes me feel so much better that he never felt that way about me because hi, I didn't have a dick. So it's okay. It's all right. We're still good
No
friends.
self-esteem issues here.
No, we're really good friends now, and it's great. But so these two guys were my friends, and they had this group of people that I just kind of like tagged along as their like puppy to hang around with. They were the same ones that I went to that house party with. Like I just followed them everywhere. They were my little leaders. So I'm hanging around with this group of people. The parents were potheads and drinkers, and they were the party house. So all the kids,
Mhm.
all the teenagers loved to hang out at their house because it was okay to drink and smoke, and we all partied at their house all the time. So we're at their house. It's 4th of July. I'm with the boyfriend. We're pre-gaming like all fucking day, and we have a plan to go down the street to the waterfront. We were like close to the river and a major bridge, and we were going to go down to the bridge by the waterfront and watch the fireworks from there because they were going to shoot them off from a park close by. It was like a 5-minute walk from the house. I got so fucking wasted prior to going to the fireworks, which was at like 9,
Mhm.
that they had to like carry me down to the waterfront. Like I was like stumbling and falling down. And I remember this, like it's all like sharp memory. Couldn't walk, like stumbling, falling down, drank 1,000, whatever I was drinking. We were probably drinking like Mad Dog 2020 and nasty shit that you throw up the next day and it's awful. And I remember the boyfriend getting so upset with me because like I was just wasted. I was just useless. And I never saw the fireworks. He just like carried me back to the house. I was like, I'm fucking done. And eventually at another venture at this house, he said to me that he didn't want me to smoke around him anymore. I smoked a lot of weed as a teenager. And he was like, I really just like, I don't like how you are he's like, I don't care if you smoke weed, just don't smoke weed around me. And I was like, all
Oh
right,
my
no
God, when you
worries.
smoke weed, you're like super chill anyways, right? Like you're not
He
okay.
just, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't an
Mhm.
unreasonable request. He wasn't like, don't get falling down drunk around me. So,
Because that wouldn't have worked.
right? I was like, all right, fine. So I was being really good about it. And then one day we were leaving the house. We were leaving there and he forgot to grab his beer. And so we went back in to get his beer and I was standing at the table talking to somebody and someone passed me the fucking joint. Well, I didn't think
Yeah,
about
I don't
it.
want
I
to be
just hit the
rude.
joint and passed it along. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, he looked fucking mad." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, he just like stormed out the door. He looked pretty pissed." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I like chased him down the street because he was driving away. And we got in a huge fight. And I was like, "I'm sorry. I didn't think about blah blah blah." Blah. Got in a huge fight. Almost broke up. I stopped hanging around with those people because of that night. I was like, "Okay, clearly I can't control myself." And there's 150 more stories like that, but I think he saved my ass a little bit because it got me out of that crowd. So,
Okay.
I didn't hit a rock bottom at 20 because I wasn't hanging around with those people. Eventually he broke my heart and broke up with me and I didn't leave my bedroom for 3 months because I was so devastated because he was the one. But he served his purpose in my
Mhm.
world. But that's that's the 4th of July, like, wasted story I can remember. Last year, we probably really didn't do much. I like to see fireworks.
Me
So
too.
usually no, I know what we did last year. Last year, they did it in combo with the air show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what we did. I wrangled some people. I like put it out on Facebook and we wrangled some people. And I remember, so we set up chairs at Flagler Park, right?
Mhm.
Flagler Park. And
They used to do a 4th on Flagler, and we
yeah,
used to bartend.
we've
Oh
been to
my
that.
god. Yeah.
But this is different Flagler, right? This is
Right.
Stewart, not West Palm.
No,
But
no, that's what I'm talking about.
oh,
We did it. Maybe it was called something else.
I
But
think 4th on Flagler is usually the West Palm event.
maybe it was called something else. But this girl used to do it, and I used to bartend, and I used to be a good time. I used to make a
Oh,
lot
I
of money.
believe it. Yeah. Well, that was
Mhm.
my biggest gripe last year was there was no fucking alcohol. They weren't serving any alcohol. Like if you
You
didn't
didn't
bring
bring
it,
your own?
well, we did, but come on, like
You
where's
ran
the
out.
outside bar? Where's the food? Like I remember that being my biggest bitch that there wasn't, and they like, what the fuck? We're doing 4th of July and we don't have booze readily available. Shh, whatever.
Thought this was
Yeah,
America.
that's America. Yeah, that's what last year was. Okay, yeah, got it.
See, and I was so fresh, baby sober,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably just thought I needed to be good and not even be
Yeah.
sober forever.
No,
So,
good for you. You did a good, especially 4th of July was usually a party for you. I feel
oh
like it's
yeah,
not, I mean, we'd go out, I'd drag John to go see some fireworks, but that was the extent of it. And this year, so we just talked about it a little bit this morning. We might have some construction site opportunities to go like hang out at somebody's in progress mansion and
oh,
see the West Palm fireworks. They're firing them from an undisclosed location because they don't want people to congregate, but they're saying that residents of Palm Beach, like West Palm Beach, will see them wherever they're shooting them from.
huh? That's interesting.
Mhm. But they're not telling people where they're shooting them from.
So 4th of July for me was always like a good party. It was you could party all day. You could start
Mm.
drinking in the morning. Usually there was a party the night
You
before.
start the night before. Yep.
Right. So night before, woohoo! Because anytime, even like on a Friday now, even the other day we were talking about it, right? Like if you know you have a couple days off, like that natural instinct when you like it strikes 5 o'clock or whatever it is
Yeah,
that you're
5
off.
o'clock. Fuck that. 2.
When you're off work, like
Mhm.
you start getting like, oh, like, all right, like let's do this.
Yeah.
But now it's like, all right, we're not gonna do anything. Like, all right, let's do something else, right? So you kind of
All right.
all
Let's
right.
not do this.
Find something else to
Let's
do.
crack a seltzer.
Yeah. But I don't know where I was going.
Yeah,
With
so
that.
it's well, so what are you doing tomorrow? Do you have plans?
I think we're gonna go. I said let's go for like a hike in the morning. We used to like go around and do that. And we just haven't because we've been busy doing like.
Pray
our
tell,
own-
where in Florida do you hike?
Like there's in our county, there's on the internet, there's this. They have a website and there's all these little trails. So we go through, we go around them.
Okay.
It's not like mountain hiking,
Right.
but I do wear my little hiking shoes.
Oh,
And
aren't you cute? It's an excuse to wear an outfit.
yeah.
It's really just a walk. We go for a
It
walk.
is. It's a walk, but it's cute. It's like in these little nature trails,
Yeah,
and you
no,
see
that's
like
nice.
different birds
Mhm.
and butterflies and all. You know,
Oh,
yeah.
cute.
So, and it's something to do outside that's a little bit different. So we are gonna probably do something like that, and then his mom is having a little barbecue. We might stop by there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really it. No fireworks here, social distancing, all that
Yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, nobody's doing anything.
As you know, we're in paradise, but it's also COVID paradise.
Yep, it's still COVID.
So we just hit a 10,000 case mark the other day. So we're still booming. So yeah, so we're just taking it easy. I've had
Okay.
a couple days off. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Chilling.
nice. Yeah, I have a little work I have to do today, but I kind of kicked it off at like 2 o'clock yesterday because I had a long drive yesterday. I had to drive over to the west coast of Florida. So I got home at like 2 o'clock and I was just fried and just laid by the pool and soaked in some sun, took a nap. I went to a meeting with a friend of ours
Oh.
last night. Yeah, it was sorry, this isn't a topic we talked about, but
No, but you're going to a meeting. So that's something I was a little concerned about because of our COVID outbreak.
yeah.
I'm not sure I should be going.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Zoom meetings. So my home group is kind of like divided into factions right now. So we meet at a church in town and we have a courtyard outside that a lot of people were still meeting at, making sure we're still recording, that a lot of people were still meeting at outside and you just had to bring your chair and sit in the courtyard. And then the people who weren't comfortable with that were doing a Zoom meeting. So it was kind of divided. So there
Oh.
are some people I haven't seen for a while because I stopped going to the in-person meeting because I got freaked out when all the people from out of town started showing up at our meeting. But our friend reached out to me yesterday. It was her 5 months. She was
Woo.
excited. She wanted to go to a meeting. I feel bad because I didn't realize she thought she could get a 5-month chip at that meeting. My bad. We'll fix that. But I was like, yeah, let's go. And I'm thinking that we're going to be in the courtyard, and it wasn't. It was inside. Yeah. So they had the chairs set up kind of like they did at our hall and spaced out, not 6 feet. But I'm sorry, but those chairs are not 6 feet apart.
No.
At either of those places. Everybody was required to wear a mask, which they have not required at the other hall.
They probably will now. It's been a couple
Maybe.
weeks.
But I was really irritated. Like, I'm not a stickler about the masks. Like, I don't wear my mask to the grocery store and stuff like that. I don't. But I'm probably going to start having to because I think they're going to require it. But I was irritated because in close proximity to people, I do wear it. Like, I don't want to be all up in somebody's business that I don't really know very well, and I don't know where they've been. Like you, I don't feel that way about because I know you. I know where you've been. But people weren't wearing them correctly, and that was bothering me. Like, you might as well have your dick out if you have your nose hanging out of that mask. That's how I feel. Like, you might as well just be walking around with your fucking dangle swinging when you have the mask under your nose. I'm like, put it the fuck away. Like, it bothers me so much, I can't even tell you. Like, I freak out when people are wearing the mask, but they've got it under their nose. You're doing nothing.
See, and it's weird to me because if you won't,
because I don't mind not wearing one.
in Publix,
it's fucking
which
weird.
it's like,
it's fucking weird.
That's where I feel.
But I don't get close to people.
But people get close to you. Like, like people get close to me. Like people that don't. So there's like, you know, the ways, like the directions.
Right.
I had literally, I was sitting there yesterday.
Jason refuses to follow that.
So that pisses me the fuck off because,
as it should.
Right. You're in my space. Like, so there's a basket, right? The basket of like shit on sale in the aisle. A lady in a scooter thing, right? With her little King Charles dog, which is so cute. I love those dogs. And then this guy staring at juice. And I'm sitting there with my cart ready to fucking ride out and do this. And I don't usually shop in the aisle anyways, but I was getting, what was I getting? Oh, I was getting vegetable broth. So I had to go in. So I went.
Because all the healthy stuff is on the perimeter of the store. So, I know what you're doing.
I know. So I went down, I prepared. I went down the aisle where I didn't need to go, went back up. So like I had made the adjustment. And normally I might be one to like leave my cart, run in, run back real quick if no one's in the aisle. Sure. Like I feel like that's fair game.
Right. The point is to give people space.
Right. And then I had to stand there. And I just felt like, why should you? So anyway, so these people are already don't follow the rules. They're already getting closer into the bubble that they need to get. And it's like, if you don't give a shit about not wearing a mask, whatever. But don't be in my fucking space.
No,
like,
I
show
agree
some
with you.
a little bit of respect.
I
like,
agree
come
with
on. Like, we're all.
It's not up to me,
right,
to make someone else's decision for them. I am choosing to do whatever I'm doing, but I need to respect people's bubble, regardless.
Right.
And I expect people to respect mine. It happens to me too. People don't respect mine either. But for the most part, I'm on the defensive. So, but I don't know. I have mixed emotions about this whole thing. I don't want to talk about COVID
I don't
really
right.
because it gets very like political.
Emotional,
yeah. And I just, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about the whole thing.
So let's talk about what.
Let's talk about drunk shit.
All right. So I want to talk about, so I feel like we should start a segment called What You Been Reading.
What you been reading?
What you been reading or listening to. And so I'm obsessed with audibles. If you watch, you'll know. Like I bang through them. I probably listen to 4 or 5 books a month and then read them and then read 2. But so I've read a couple that are amazing, but the one I just finished is called Lush, and I don't know the author's
I remember
name.
The one I just read. Oh yeah.
I don't remember the author's name. I'm going to look it up real quick, but I can look it up and talk about it.
Okay.
So she starts off, she wrote this book about being a slut and about when she,
Oh, good. That'll lead into another topic.
So she wrote this book about being a slut, and it was this like, whatever, like breakthrough slut book, right? So, which, I mean, totally been there.
Mm.
Where do I get my library?
I can't say I've been a
So,
slut, but I can relate to
all right,
pieces
a
of
little
it.
funny. So Carrie Cohen. So I'm listening to this book, and she goes and she's talking, and it's interesting because it's trashy and it's relatable, and there's
Mm-hmm.
things in it, and you're like,
It's
oh, this
real.
is just drinking 2 bottles of wine's normal every night,
Right.
right? Like you can relate
Right.
to that. So smoking cigs on the back porch. The part I felt like was the most relatable was how she chose to drink over doing other things that really is like what life is about,
Right.
bonding experiences, all that good stuff. So it's the end of the book. It's like the last hour you're listening to, right? And then she starts talking about how she doesn't believe in rehab, right? And I'm like, all right, so controversial
She doesn't
already.
believe in
She's
rehab.
already like, well, she doesn't think it was necessary.
Okay.
So she goes to this like yoga retreat for 3 weeks, and she comes back and she hasn't had a drink. And now she ends the book basically by saying now she controls her drinking. I was fucking pissed.
How long after rehab are we? Like, how
She's
long
not
did
rehab.
she
She
not
didn't go to
drink?
rehab.
Oh, how long
Oh,
after yoga retreat? Like, how
a
long did she
month.
not drink?
A month, and then so I felt like I had to
You
make.
got bamboozled.
Yeah, I felt like I had to make an announcement and say that if you've read this book, I would suggest against anything. This is like the core of I'm also listening to the other book that has been around for many, many years. It's called Alan Carr's Easy Way to Control Alcohol. And it's not controlling, it's just not drinking.
Oh,
It's
okay.
abstaining, right? Which is
Okay.
what you're supposed to do anyways. And I just felt
Yeah, because I
like
wouldn't have picked that book up because of that.
right, but I heard a lot about it in some other books that I've been
But
that
you
I'd
knew it
read.
was abstinence.
And I knew it was
Okay.
absent. So, but when I listened to this and I was the end, I was just like, everybody that's reading this book is probably going to be like, because we're all looking
Yeah,
for
woohoo,
excuses.
permission. We can
Right.
control it.
So I can have 2 drinks just like her. Like, come on.
Oh.
And so it made me so mad. Like, I literally just felt my first reaction was I need to write this bitch a letter and tell her she's doing a disservice to anybody that has an alcohol issue, whether
Right.
you want to call it an alcoholic, whether you want to say AA is bad, whether you want to say this and that. Like, even that one book that I read, The Naked Truth or whatever,
This
it's
Naked
still
Mind.
this Naked Mind. It still ended up not drinking.
Right.
And that I'd never read a book where they end up saying, "Oh yeah, I can have 2 glasses of wine and I'm in control." Like, bitch, who you
Wait for it.
fooling?
Wait for it.
Yeah, and this was in
Isn't that-
2019. It was published, and then
isn't that all we've done our whole lives is try to control it? Like,
I'm only gonna drink on.
that's all we fucking did was try to control it. Clearly,
Right.
it never panned out.
And I got so mad.
Yeah, I don't
Sudden,
blame
like,
you.
ugh, I
I
can
don't
feel
blame
it,
you.
blood like boiling
Yeah,
in my body.
That
So
would upset me
I
too.
just felt like if you're new, especially if you're new, like I feel like if you've got some time, you're gonna listen to that and be like, bitch, see me
Yeah.
in 2 years. Yeah. But if you're new, I'm like, God, if I would have read that when I first started, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, I
Oh,
can.
good. It's not forever.
Right. Oh, and that's just such I get that the spectrum of forever sounds just like torture, but
Right.
then also being like, oh, if you just put your shit together for a month, do some yoga, and then, you can just control. And it's just like, I just felt like, oh God, like,
Yeah,
please
I don't
listen to
blame you.
that.
I'm really glad that you told me that because I'll stay away from
Mhm.
that sucker. Yeah, no. Nope. Tried to control it. All done. So I'm on a lot of Facebook. Well, not a lot, but I'm on a couple of like women
Right.
Facebook groups. And this one particular group I'm on, somebody posted, she said, I stick to women's groups. Like, it's funny. I'm the opposite of the person I have been for the last 30 years that, like, now I just and I stay away from men. Any women-ish thing I can do, I do. But she posted, if you only drink during certain times and you control or track or keep to X number of drinks so that you're not considered drunk, are you still an alcoholic? Right? Which it's a reasonable question for somebody who is in the throes of alcoholism. Like, it's a sensible question if you are actively drinking and probably problem drinking because you're trying to justify that you're not an alcoholic. You
I
don't
just
want to
feel like if
admit
you're
it.
asking yourself that, then you have an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what
like,
and that was some of the responses that she got was like, normies don't really think about it that way. They just have a couple of drinks and move on with their life. Like, they don't have to
chart it,
Right.
graph it, write it down.
Yep.
What was good, what was bad. I
Right.
mean,
Right. So I responded and I said, I agree with the previous responses, but here's my question, like, why do you have to do this? Like, why do you have to track it? Is it because if you don't, you have too much? Like, have there been consequences? Like, kind of leading the horse to water. Like, well, the real question is, why are you controlling it this way?
right. Like,
And
why are you
her
drinking in the
response was
first
like
place?
so off the charts. Like, it's because I only drink while I'm at work between 2 and
Ugh.
4 in the afternoon because I lose motivation, and I've tried opiates and all kinds of other things, and I need to still not be drunk when I talk to my boss on the phone. I was like, oh, honey,
You're a wackadoo.
Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, okay, well, I really hope that you find some answers here, and I think it's a really good idea to seek some real help.
Yeah.
Like, it was not the response I was expecting. But anyhow, but yeah, if you're trying to control it, and I talked to my sponsor about that one. I was telling her about it, and she said, well, if you're trying to control something, it probably means it's out of control. I was like, oh, the sage advice of MC. She's so good.
She
She's
is.
so good. She got like a million years sober, so she's so good.
And it's like the simplest shit, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh,
Oh,
wow.
right. That totally makes sense. Ding, ding.
So
Yeah.
what are you reading? What you reading?
I am not reading a sober book at the moment, but the last sober book that I'm actually reading The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I just read that.
Did you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's in my book club.
Slightly more than halfway through it. It's interesting. It's bothering me in certain ways. Like,
Did you watch the season?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
I wish I would have read the book before I watched it.
That's why I'm
I
reading
already
it.
pre-ordered the second one, but you should join our book club.
Okay. So I'm reading that right now. But prior to that, I read The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober,
Ah,
which I really liked.
love it.
Yeah,
That's one of my faves.
Really liked that one. It was very good and ended really well. And it was just nice because she keeps tying things back to, like, this is what it's like now. Like, this is the foreboding that I was, horribleness of it that I was thinking it was going to be, and I'm in a really good place now. So it was good. I really liked that one. My favorite is still Girl Walks Out of a Bar. That hands down is my favorite.
God.
That was the first one I read. And I don't know if that's why it's my favorite, because it was the first one I read and
It's a good
identified
one.
with. But I think for brand newbies, great fucking book. Great book.
Yeah, I have we're gonna start. So we've been trying to post a little bit more. That's my category of some pictures. Like I posted the picture of Amy and I at the AA meeting for the 1 year, and
Serving cake.
yeah, serving cake out of the trunk. And I
Got
love
some cake
that.
in my trunk.
Got some cake in my
Lindsay was
trunk.
hilarious. She's like, we got some black market cake in the trunk. If y'all want some cake, got
I know.
cake
And then
out
I was
here.
like, did that sound racist?
No,
It was vanilla cake.
no, it did not sound racist. It was hilarious.
But so we're gonna start a little, maybe like I mean, oh God, we've been through so
Yeah,
many
a
of
little
them.
what
Maybe
you
like once
reading.
a week,
I like
just
it.
kind of like what you're reading and the past books, because I've listened to a lot of really good ones, and ones I didn't like at first, and then ones that ended, and I was like, oh my God, that was the best one ever. And then ones like this one, ugh.
I'm a podcast junkie too. Like, I do like to read the sober books, but I feel like a big resource is also the podcasts. And sometimes sometimes they're sober podcasts, although I have a hard time. I have very few of the sobriety podcasts that I've grown to like enough that I really follow them. But I like to listen to sober people. So even though the podcast might not be about sobriety, I like to listen to sober people. So if you have like sober celebrities that you like, and everybody has a fucking podcast now, but you can find, like, if they do one, it's
Oh yeah, they all do.
because it comes up, even though they're not, the topic isn't necessarily sobriety, it still comes up, and I enjoy listening to that. So give it a try.
So did you think so? Amy and I played golf the other day,
Mm.
and we played with two women we didn't know previous to playing.
Oh, we're talking about Saturday.
Yeah,
Last
we're going to talk about
Saturday.
Saturday for a
Okay.
second because I have a question.
Yeah.
So we played with these two women. One woman ended up leaving after the
She like threw a tantrum. She was a baby.
Yeah, she's a little dramatic, but we've all had those days. I mean, you threw
I
your
still have
club the other
never.
day.
That was an accident, though. I didn't mean to do it. I swung and I like I
Okay.
didn't have a good grip on it and I let it go.
She was also angry, but
I was, but I wasn't throwing it. I really wasn't.
So she left, and so it was just the one super nice woman, and why I like playing with those ladies too, because you always meet some nice ladies, and and I don't know why I felt the need to let her know that we do not drink anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so glad we're not drunk playing, because we were putting and I was not putting well, or it was hot or something, and I was like, I'm so glad we're not drinking playing this. And it wasn't like a, oh, because we're sober and go to AA. It was
Right.
just a sober kind of comment about not drinking, which it could have been just like, I'm not glad we're not drinking right now,
Right.
and hit him hard at the clubhouse. But
Yeah, I didn't think what you said indicated we were both sober, but she clearly
I definitely
picked that
felt the
right
need
up.
to like talk about it. I don't know if I felt the need to show off about it, or if I felt the need to like let her know. But what
I
did you
don't
think
remember
about
what
that?
the context was. And I know she then was like, "Oh, well, I don't drink much. There's not a lot of alcohol in my house." Like she made those kind of comments, which I believe. I
Oh
believe
yeah, well
she's
then we went to
probably
lunch with her, and
yeah.
I ordered a Beck's non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Because it was just one of those. It was just hot, muggy, like oof, oh, it was amazing. But it was a non-alcoholic beer. I had one, and she
I
was like,
didn't.
she's like, "Do you mind if I get a beer?" We were like, I was like, "No." I'm like, I'm getting, but so we did chat about it a little bit, and one thing I did like is you could see her like she kind of had like a little sparkle of like she seemed proud of us, and
Yeah,
she didn't
yeah, a little
even know us.
mom proud, yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really sweet. And she
Yeah.
kind of asked questions, but she was very like good about it. And I don't know if that's just how her demeanor was, and that's just her, or if we're just to a point now where I'm a lot more comfortable. I won't speak for you.
I think that's part of it. I think we are more comfortable. I'm definitely comfortable. I'm very out. I'm very out in the open about being sober to
Mhm.
people. And I make jokes about it. Like I'm like, "Oh no, I don't drink." And they're like, "Oh, good for you." I'm like, "Oh, it's good for everybody." No, I'm not sure
I
why the
love that
whole
one.
world thanks me for that. Like I make jokes about it, and I'm very comfortable being out and open about it because I feel like it takes a question mark of pressure off. Like, don't offer me anything. Don't think I can have just one. Nope,
Mhm.
I'm fucking sober because I'm a drunk. Like I'm okay with that. But in her case, I think because in her field of work, right, she had been a
True.
probation officer. I
Oh
think
yeah, I forgot left that one
yeah,
out.
she had been a probation officer for a career and she was retired. But I think she had probably seen a lot of very nice young women who fucked up their lives royally and probably a lot of drug and alcohol problems
And repeat
and
offenders and
repeat
people that just
offenders. And so I think to see people who
mm,
have had some issues and who have cleaned themselves up and done the right thing, like, is probably exciting for her because it's the success story. Like she probably liked seeing the success story versus what a lot of what she dealt with, which was people going to jail repeatedly because they couldn't get their shit together.
mhm.
Yeah. So that's what I think. I mean,
Okay.
yes, I agree. I think she was proud of us, but I think there was like a relatable piece there because of what she did for a living.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just even before I knew that she did that, I felt this like excessive need to like tell her. I don't
You had
know.
like a little alcohol truth serum. Like, yeah, it was funny because I almost felt like oh, what that was random. Like I felt like it was weird
That
that
I was saying it.
yeah, I did.
Okay.
I mean, it was fine. I didn't mind, but I did feel like it was weird. But I blurt it too sometimes,
Okay.
like inappropriately or unnecessarily. Like I tell people or blurt it or whatever. I get like awkward, like it's like
Oh,
it's like sober Tourette's. Like it happens and it's okay. I mean, you're not a sex offender.
I
You
used to drink too
didn't.
much and now I don't drink at all.
Yeah, yeah. I used to be a volunteer drunk and now I'm sober. Ah. Yeah, I think we all do it. I think we all
I
do it.
still need you to like me though.
Yeah. So,
Well,
but it was fun, and golf has always been a big thing for Lindsay and I.
mhm.
And it was also a huge drinking thing for us. So
Huge.
we didn't play for a while. I've been playing, but you didn't play for a little while. We didn't play together for a while. So now we're kind of like getting that mojo going again, and we are playing. Today's Friday. We're playing on Sunday in a tournament with two of our friends who we love dearly, but are still drinkers. Not,
Mhm.
you know. Okay, so I want to tell this story appropriately.
Okay.
So one of them, so L2, was with us the weekend of like the beginning of the end, right?
Mhm. Oh.
at one of the golf
Ooh,
tournaments
me
the
too.
infamous golf tournaments that I talk about all the time. She drove my blackout drunk ass home that day and like got me home safely. Um, so she'll be there. She still drinks, but in my head, like we would all be trashed. But I think you and I were probably really the ones who were like fucking wasted at everything. And I think even if she and our other friend, J Lo, drink, we will see that they don't drink anywhere to where we were drinking.
Well,
I think they'll regulate a little bit because of
right,
us.
for sure.
But if you really think back to the golf tournaments we played in with, I mean, we only played in that one other tournament with L2 because she was a little intimidated by the tournament thing until she did it and saw it was just a drunken mess.
Yeah, but
But we played with her before. We played plenty of golf with her.
right.
And she's never gotten like fallen down drunk or wasted or anything. Like I think
I think she was pretty wasted. I think that we were just we were more
You
wasted.
think so?
Yeah.
Hmm,
So,
okay.
do you have a little anxiety about it?
I don't. I was bringing this up because I know you did.
So, I was thinking about that because I was in the shower the other day and I was like, I think I made
That's where
it
we do our best thinking.
all the time. I think that I made it seem like I had more anxiety than I really do. I
Okay,
am
good.
super excited to
Good.
see the girls and, but it's almost like just to circle back a little bit, like, when we used to golf and it was like my mom, she still says golf as a 4-letter word because my dad will go get drunk and drive home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for Pat, very much so. So
Right.
like the other day I was talking to him and I'm like, so I'm going to play golf and he
With Amy.
with Amy, right? I'm going to play golf with Amy. Like that's instantly, I'm sure his whole body was
Yeah,
like,
he's like, oh God,
oh
I'm gonna be
God.
drunk Uber.
Right. So because that's what he used to do, especially when we used to golf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was very strategic.
yes.
For Pat.
I know. So, but it was interesting because now that I've come home like 3 times that we've played, and I've played with you 2 times played my dad.
Yeah,
one time,
once
but,
with
like
your dad.
I've come home and I've been sober.
Mm-hmm.
He's like extra happy to see me. It's
Okay, good.
really sweet.
Good.
Yeah, and I think now he's softening up in that, right? So
Yeah.
it just feels really good, and I think
And now I think it's got to be like it's the positive that we're together.
oh,
Like it's got to have
absolutely.
morphed like, oh good, you and Amy are going to be together because
Mhm.
we've got each other's backs and we're going to support each other
Right.
and
Not like, oh, she's going to a golf tournament with a bunch of, crazy people she doesn't know, or
Mhm.
golf tournament in his head means wild and crazy,
Right.
probably
Right.
because we made it
And
that
I have
way.
an advantage. Like I never stopped. Like I didn't take the break that you've taken. Like
Mhm.
I've played in tournaments from the get-go after not drinking anymore. Like I played with the guys from the TCBA that like, what's his face there,
Yeah.
the private group there, the private
You
tournament. I played
yes.
with them and
We played in one right after, but it was right after my shoulder too, so I didn't play too much. So
Yep,
yeah.
that's right. We
So I'm
played in that
excited
one.
about it. I'm excited to just get back to doing things that I enjoy and I can be present in, and that's been the most important. So
And we play so much better.
Oh,
Look
we
at what
do.
better golfers we are.
when you said it the other day, it was really touching, and I was thinking about this too. I'm
I
thinking
love
you
it.
said you were like you looked up at me and you were about to putt, and you were like, "I'm just so glad we stopped drinking," and you went back and like did your shot, and I was just like, me too. Because sometimes I feel sometimes I'm like, am I still as much fun? Am I still this? And that's all the self-esteem craziness. But
Right. And I
but it
think
was
for a
just
minute we
nice, yeah.
weren't. For a minute, it's fucking weird. For a minute, you don't feel like yourself. For a minute, you just want to crawl under the sofa and die and, melt into a puddle. But you really are like you're going to be more you when you get past that initial point.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I'm more me now. Like I'm just as funny. And I've had a few people like I'm just as funny.
I know.
I'm just as fucking awesome.
Actually, more
And
amazing.
super fucking humble. But I've had a few people. So I talked a while back about the Honda Classic debacle when I went with my friend, who I love her to pieces, but she has been somebody I have been on some fucking adventures with. Like I marauded through Milwaukee, Wisconsin, wasted with this girl. Like we've had a good time in Nashville. I think I went to Nashville with her too. Oh no, I definitely did. Yeah, I remember that. Anyway. So we went to Honda Classic and she said something to me and I laughed and it was just just my usual loud guffaw laughing. And she said something to me later. She's like, you're so much more clear, more genuine, more you. Like she was
Aw.
trying to explain what she's like, even just that laugh was so genuine and from your belly and like you were just
Mhm.
having a good time. And then
Aw.
I had a brunch that I went to, which was fucking danger zone, dude. Mimosas,
Brunches.
unlimited mimosas. Oh my God. I love to brunch with unlimited mimosas.
Oh
25
my
bucks all
God.
day,
I'm
all
gonna put
day.
you out of
What
business.
time does it start? What time does it end? And my drinks better not get more orange as time goes on. That's all I got to say to you.
Yeah, just bring the bottles.
Just keep it coming. Anyway, I went to that brunch and was with a bunch of girls who are all younger than me. I'm the old lady at this table. They're all in their 20s, maybe early 30s. And now I'm the sober old lady. So it was super awkward. But the girl who was sitting across the table from me, I said that I wasn't drinking anymore. And she has seen me like really super drunk.
She's seen me drunk too.
Yeah, she's seen me super drunk, and and I love this girl. She's a riot. She's a blast. But she said, and she was drinking, but she said to me, she's like, "Oh my God, you're just as much fun as you." I was like, "Totally. Like I'm still me. It's still the same personality. It's just,
Mhm.
you know, it's
No, I think we're
real."
better.
Yeah. So, but I think that took a little time.
Mhm.
And I think it's normal that people feel weird and terrified about it because I certainly did. Like, I was so afraid of what it was going to be like to network after I stopped drinking. Um, there are challenges. Like, I don't know if we have time for me to segue into this, but there are challenges.
Mm-mm.
We don't have time. All right. I guess I have to wrap it up. We'll save this one for next time.
But no, we're just saying that you turn into the you always wanted to be, really. The
Mhm.
you that you truly are,
Right.
right?
And you truly regulate your behavior.
Mhm.
You say what you want to say. You don't accidentally say shit that's offensive or bothers
Mm.
people or you feel bad about later. Like, and if you say something that you stick your foot in your mouth, you're right there to be like, "Oops, sorry, I didn't mean it that way," right then and there.
Because you're cognizant of what you can see the person's reaction.
Right. Didn't
Right.
mean it that way. Da 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 da.
'Cause you're
But you're
present.
just as much fun. You're just as cool. And you are. You're super cool. Don't drink.
Don't drink. Stay sober.
Stay fucking sober.
So on that note.
On that note, yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. It's another beautiful day in paradise. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
We'll be launching onto podcast platforms soon.
Soon we're going to
Especially
fix
now
the
that we've got-
audio. I know we're fancy. We're going to fix the audio and then we're going to be putting it on a platform, TBD. And for now, and then we're going to start working on getting the website up so that we can just start putting some of the resources. Like I think that
Mhm.
we're at a point now where we've got some things that have really helped us that can possibly help you. And
Yep.
so just to put the resources out there and get a little bit more of our story, I think we'll start sharing a little bit more on social media, just kind of how we're feeling, what the day's like.
Yeah, what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
So get some pictures up there and just so you can get to know us a little bit better, follow our journey, and we'd love to follow yours. So if you want to shoot any questions, comments, things you like that we say,
Mm-hmm.
how
Call
amazing
us
we
out
are.
on shit. That's fine
Yeah.
too.
It's wildgirlsgonesober@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our handle on Facebook and Instagram. So if you have any questions or anything, we'd love to hear from you. And if you think that our podcast could help somebody that it's helped you, somebody might,
Share away.
yes,
Share away.
let's share.
So until next time, you can stay sober wherever you are.
We choose to do it in paradise. Bye.